is a member of the MiceChat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Has someone opened their bottle already?
For hours and hours alone, not those of any other boat.
No.
If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another
Sort of toying with the opener.
Everybody neat and pretty. Then on with the show.
In like a kung fu butterfly knife style.
Started salivating.
I can open beer with my cleavage.
Okay.
Oh wow.
we're off to a flying stop.
See, I should have timed that joke so much better because I could have timed it to the audience applauded it, but I failed.
If I wasn't recording live, I would move it slightly further forward for you. Excellent. Welcome back. Thank you very much, dear audience and dear listeners. Welcome back to another episode of This After Dark. Here in the Mouse's Head, I am Paul.
I am Nick.
I am the other Paul D.
And I am Craig. What's my catchphrase?
That'll do.
That's it.
What's the size of them plums?
I don't know.
You're a complete and total snakehead.
That one?
No, what was it? Oh, it was proper Carry On as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was an episode back, for fudge's sake.
some
Wish me plums. No.
that'll do for the time being. Joining us in the Mouse's Head, Ken. Hello.
Hey guys.
Hey Ken.
Ken is proprietor of the Disney Movie Review. Is proprietor the good word? I don't know.
Nice word. I like that word.
Why not?
It's as good a word as any, and it's all you're going to get. Gentlemen, beer bump, star. What are we drinking?
Nice. I like your segue there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I announced before the show. I wasn't going to say it publicly because I embarrassed myself enough on this podcast, but I may as well. I got a bottle of nice whiskey by my children, not because their dad's an alcoholic, ish. But anyway, I tried to be a real man because I'm almost 32, and drink it neat, but discovered that I'm still a pussy, and it hurts. So instead, I've still got whiskey, but I've now topped it up with some cherry Pepsi Max. So cheers.
Whiskey and cherry Pepsi Max.
Cherry Pepsi Max.
Class.
It's only because I didn't have any regular Pepsi Max.
I think that's in the new Spectre James Bond movie. I think he goes in and says, "Oh, a whiskey with the cherry Pepsi Max."
Look, the important lesson is I've learned that gin is still fine. Whiskey is just not. I'm not there yet.
Mr. D or Mr. L?
I'm on the Copperberg.
Okay.
Not cherry, but mixed fruits, and not Max. Cheers.
Cheers. Mr. L.
I'm still doing Slimming World, so I'm sorry. I'm drinking tap water.
Nothing wrong, Craig. Good on you, man. I've got to our listeners because we don't normally publish photos to the feeds, the DisAfterDark page or Twitter page or anything like that, unless it's an embarrassing photo of me like Craig did the other week. But I've seen some pictures of Craig recently, and you could turn me, Craig.
Oh, thanks.
You're looking damn good, man. Well pleased for you.
Well, another £2 off this week anyway. Slimming World.
Good stuff, man.
Update. There you go. It's the jingle.
Is that your new jingle?
Yeah. Slimming World update.
Right. That you can like capture that after the recording, Paul.
Yeah. I'll put some music in the background.
Nice.
I think that in a C sharp would be good.
A bit of auto tune.
Yeah. I think so. Excellent. Ken, would you care for a drink?
I'm actually drinking sangria.
Oh,
I don't know.
hey.
I've never heard you guys talk about sangria.
Nice choice.
Luis Garcia drinks sangria.
Well, normally only on sort of Balearic holidays, but you can probably get it in Mexico, can't you? Does it qualify in the Mexico Pavilion?
I think you could get it at the Mexican Pavilion. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I
think you can.
I want red wine, brandy, and fruit. That covers most of the food groups that I'm interested in. So yeah, cool. Well, I'm also at Epcot. I've gone round a bit further, and I've walked round to the Italian pavilion because I've gone for a bottle of Peroni.
Ooh, I like
Solid.
And what I didn't realise is that it's actually very nearly a litre bottle.
Oh, good man.
Hang on. Whoa, hang on a second. Right. Unless this bottle's been made by Mary Poppins, at what point do you not realise it's quite a large bottle of beer?
I realised it's quite a large bottle, but I sort of turned it around expecting it to be something like 750 ml, and it's actually closer to 800.
He must have bought it with wearing a pair of those glasses, you know, that's got a little etch on it. It says things may appear bigger.
Yeah. So you guys can talk most. I'm going to be drinking. And should anyone want to, except I'm going to have to put a flake in that now.
Oh dear! Come on, tip the glasses.
Just drink it in one, chug it.
Chug it, that'll do. Gentlemen, how can people find us if they haven't already found us? Otherwise, would question why they're listening to us. But every podcast does this bit, so yeah.
So where can they find us? Well, I'm going to be honest. I normally take my lunch between 1:30 and somewhere between 1:30 and 3 is my usual. And I normally go down Prague Street, which is just off Edgware Road. So you can find me there. If you want to find how to contact the show, you can visit our website at www.DisAfterDark.com, or you can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
Okay.
I don't get an hour and a half from a lunch break.
Oh, no, I don't. I
it.
go somewhere between those hours. I actually only go out for about 20 minutes, so you haven't got long to catch me.
I have my lunch al desco.
Yep.
Reading emails. Anyway, if you're interested in finding us on Twitter, we're at DisAfterDark. We're also on Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and you can find us on MiceChat.com.
Go on, Craig. You can do the rest of it, Craig, because you know where else we are. You're the resident social media expert.
We're on Google Plus.
Yeah?
We're on Tumblr. We're on Movie. Stick the body under the patio. Dead.
Where's the lesbians?
Sorry, couldn't resist it. Playing with a new soundboard.
Yeah, so there you go. We're everywhere. We're like Big Brother.
Yeah, but only we don't actually watch you.
Yeah, well, I do.
If you follow us on Periscope, then you can actually watch us.
Oh, yeah, we're on Periscope as well.
Yeah, we haven't done much on Periscope the last couple of weeks.
We tried it once and it killed our bandwidth.
I tell you what, actually, I might do. If people contact the Twitter and ask me to do it, I will do a Lilo and Stitch Periscope, because we noticed today. My wife noticed today that because we've got Now TV, which is Sky Movies, and we've got Netflix. Both of them have Lilo and Stitch. However, they both have different versions of Lilo and Stitch. There's one scene that was reanimated for the UK only, and Now TV has one version, and Netflix has the uncensored version.
Oh, didn't know that.
No. I only found out today. She showed me. I couldn't believe it. I've investigated it, and sure enough. So, if people want to see that Periscope, contact the Twitter or email, Facebook,
the Twitter. Just call the Twitter. Yeah,
the Twitter @the Twitter, and let us know. And if I get enough demand, i.e., more than one, then I'll do that. So there you go. Sounds to look forward to.
Excellent.
And the Twitter is @DisAfterDark. That's my bet.
It is. Yeah, it is. And that's enough discussion on that, so I'm going to kill that with an axe. We've got a guest here. So I think it's about time we talked to the guest. Hello, Ken, again.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thank you for sitting quietly in the background while we just rambled on incoherently for nothing.
I love hearing you guys talk. It reminds me of the Jungle Book. It really does.
The Jungle Book. Or the Jungle Book.
I think it should remind you more of the Muppet Show, to be honest. That's how we feel.
Yes, exactly. Right, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken.
Yeah, so I run the DisneyMovieReview.com. I basically am just a guy that loves Disney movies. I started when I first saw Pinocchio in the re-release that came out in theaters in 1992, and have really just been hooked ever since. When I went down to Disney World for the first time in 2002, I think it was, I just fell in love with the whole thing, like just fell in love with all of it. So that's what I've been working on. When I'm not doing that, I work at a nonprofit here in North Carolina. So.
I'm not going to pressure the nobility of working for a non-profit. I definitely work for a completely go-for-profit, which means I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I work for a major telecommunications company, so enough said.
They want as much profit as possible. If only we got to see it, but there we go. So, the Disney Movie Review. In which case, I think we need to talk about some movies.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about movies. That's literally what happened. Is I was on the phone with my brother for like 3 hours talking about. I don't even remember what movie it was. I think it was Maleficent. We were talking about Maleficent, and he was just like, "You really should do, something because you're not going to be able to talk to me for 3 hours each time." So. Well,
I think the biggest bomb so far this summer has been Tomorrowland.
Yeah, definitely.
Does anyone want to give an opinion on that?
Well, hang on. First, before we go back to that, because, this is a topic that comes up. It's come up a few times before. So, you mentioned the magic M word.
Yeah.
What was your personal take on Maleficent?
Well, I didn't like Maleficent, and the reason I didn't like it is because it changed Disney canon. You have...
Yes!
It's true. You have a couple Disney villains that you have. One is Chernabog, who they're going to be trying to make another, live-action film about. And the other is Maleficent. And these are like the two most powerful. Whenever you see something on villains, it usually has Maleficent and Chernabog. And for them to take her and to say that she's actually the one that raised Sleeping Beauty. And here's the thing. The fact that, it wasn't somebody else narrating. It was somebody else narrating. It wasn't Maleficent narrating, giving her side of the story. It was Sleeping Beauty. It's just, I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff with that movie that I really did not like.
Ken, this is exactly what I said a year ago. It's almost like you just listened to my soapbox, because that's exactly what I said. And you won't, even now, even to this day, I still row with people online about this, and they'd say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that Sleeping Beauty said it. It's a film." No, you're changing history as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Exactly.
And
the thing is, you've made the point like completely clear there. Had it been a case of, there's two sides to every story, that would be one thing. But it was a fact that Sleeping Beauty turned around and said, this is actually what happened, what you heard before was a lie. That was the part of it that I thought, no, you know what, sod you and your crappy thing. And the fact that we're now going to get Maleficent 2, Electric Boogaloo, and we're not going to get Tron 3.
Yeah, I would have traded those. I would have traded Tron 3 for Maleficent 2. Maleficent has a bigger audience, and so I can understand why they're doing it. But I feel like they're just standing to further ruin it. There's no place for Maleficent to go except being even more good than she was already perceived to be good.
She could go to New York.
Oh, yeah, like the Smurfs.
Yeah.
The Smurfs, yeah.
Or she could follow in your footsteps, Ken, work for a non-profit.
She could. That's
answering the phones. But I think that, this segues so well, because we've gone from Maleficent 2, mentioned a little bit of Tron 3, but the reason why we're not getting a Tron 3 takes us right back around to the original question, which is Tomorrowland, which frankly is something I think we should have covered on this show already. I don't know why we haven't. But
slacking somewhere.
Yeah, that must be it. But yeah, as our guest, Ken, you must have seen Tomorrowland.
I did.
Okay.
I definitely saw it, yeah. So, I see them all. I work to do Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, so if it comes out in one of those, I've seen it.
So, your thoughts on Tomorrowland?
Well, so I love Tomorrowland, honestly. I don't know how much, I don't know, if I could ruin things or if I could not, but just on the whole of it, I love the idea of this place called Tomorrowland, obviously, where, anything's possible, where the best and the brightest people go and they work to actually fix problems in the world. Like, I love seeing that and having that idea be realized. I love the way that they told the story. My biggest beef with it, honestly, is that if you're not a Disney fan, you have absolutely no idea what's going on. And maybe if you haven't been to Disney World or Disneyland or some Disney park, Disney Paris or wherever, like maybe if you haven't been to one of those parks, you have no idea what's going on. But I could definitely see that, as I was watching the movie, I could see there's so many tie-ins to Disney, but if you don't get those little tie-ins, you're probably sitting there and you're probably lost.
Okay. And that's quite interesting you say you're probably lost because, of course, one of the writers behind it was heavily involved in Lost.
Yeah.
Damon Lindelof, wasn't it?
Yeah, Damon Lindelof, yeah. Writer for Lost. Yeah, definitely. I was never a fan of Lost, so I wasn't sure.
You say writer for Lost, like they were actually writing it, as opposed to just making it up as they go along for Lost.
Yeah, but they've still got to write it down.
He was an improviser for Lost.
Improviser for Lost.
Yes. I spit on these people these people that just make it up as they go along.
Yeah, yes. What they want to do is properly. Yeah, actually, yeah.
All this off the cuff stuff.
Yeah. I'll get me coat.
So, team, I mean, when Disney films come out, because we've all got other commitments, we don't always get to see all of them. For example, I've still not seen Cinderella. Not that I'm losing sleep over it, but I've seen Tomorrowland. Mr. D, have you seen Tomorrowland?
Yep, seen it. Yeah.
Craig, you seen Tomorrowland?
Yeah, correct.
Mr. Boniface, you seen Tomorrowland?
No. Yeah.
No.
Back to me then.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go around in a circle. I saw Tomorrowland. I saw it the opening weekend, and we saw it on a Sunday morning, so it was pretty quiet in the cinema. There wasn't many people in there, but for opening weekend, I probably expected a little bit more. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I'd probably say about 7 out of 10. I'd give it. I agree with what Ken says to an extent, but I think the opening 10 minutes or so are very important to Disney fans, especially for people that know the history of Disney a bit as well. I think that makes a lot more sense if you're familiar with that. There's some nice little Easter eggs in that bit as well. I don't think the film overall, you need to be a massive Disney fan, because to be honest, I think they play about with ideas and concepts associated with parks, especially, I'd say, Epcot. But I think the biggest problem with Tomorrowland, especially when you go back and watch the trailers now, is it tells you nothing. It looks very pretty, but it doesn't tell you anything. And I think there were some interesting ideas in there, but I think it just didn't have the direction that I expected it to. And to be honest, I think the biggest disappointment is the fact that it was directed by Brad Bird, who until Tomorrowland had big hits, massive hits, with The Incredibles, with Ratatouille, with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is actually one of the better films in the franchise, and of course The Iron Giant. All brilliant films, and a lot of success there. But Tomorrowland has really bombed, and and it is because of that Disney pulled the plug on the Sunday after Tomorrowland had come out before the box office opened. And I'm going to give a really sad statistic that in its opening day, Jurassic World last Friday made more on its opening day than Tomorrowland had in a month.
Oh, can I give you another
domestically.
stat statistic?
Yeah.
Okay. because that's really sad. But consider this: Tomorrowland has been out for basically a month in the U.S., right? So domestic release, basically a month. Currently, it's made $87 million. Inside Out just came out in a single weekend. Inside Out made $91 million domestically in the U.S. So, like, you're talking about flopping. Like, this film didn't just flop. It's really bad.
It took a whooping.
Yeah, it's done a belly flop, and it's landed and stung itself quite spectacularly.
Ken, what was the marketing like for it in the US? Because here, I don't think it was well publicised at all.
No.
And it was strangely publicised. Like Nick said, the trailers, they didn't really tell you what was going on. They didn't really hook you and make you want to see it. I mean, as a Disney fan, you wanted to see it because you knew bits and pieces of what it was about. But if you were an average Joe Public, you'd watch that trailer and think, looks quite good, but I don't know what it's about. Was that the same in the US?
It was. The marketing was pretty much exactly the same as what you guys are talking about. I mean, they still had these trailers where if you're a Disney fan, you're catching all these subtle hints. And, I mean, the name of the film is Tomorrowland. And, in most of the parks, they have Tomorrowland in the park. And so, even people who say that they love Disney, some of those people don't even know if Tomorrowland's a land or if it's a ride or what it is. And so I think they overestimated how much people know about Disney. And when people went to see it and it wasn't this, blockbuster like a Marvel thing, or it wasn't, kind of a kid film, but not entirely 100% appropriate at some point. But, it didn't really know what it wanted to be. And so people weren't sure, should I go see it? Should I not go see it? What should I do? And in the end, they just stayed home because they didn't hear really good reviews about it. People were saying it was a little too preachy, which I can understand. I mean, it was a little too preachy, but I liked the message of it.
When do we get Inside Out?
We get Inside Out. Yeah, I think is it the 27th of July?
Something like that. I thought maybe the 19th.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're going to get it in time for the school holidays.
Mm-hmm. That's another one that it hasn't really been marketed over here.
It won't. To be fair, though, it won't yet. It's too early. It's too early. I think as the release date gets closer, to be honest, we're really Minions heavy. Now we actually get the Minions movie next Friday, which is the 28th or something of June. So we'll actually get. That's the weird thing. So you got Inside Out this weekend,
right?
We get that at the end of July, but we get the Minions movie about 2 weeks before you do.
Right. Yeah.
So release dates don't correlate. And actually, Inside Out's open up in a lot of markets this weekend. It's not just been America, but traditionally, we've always had a Pixar or Disney film released towards the summer holidays. So we'll wait a few weeks.
Have you seen Inside Out yet?
Have I seen it?
Yeah.
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay, before we go on that though, Craig, I want to hear your opinion of Tomorrowland.
It was just a good action film, really. It was you get the feeling that all the highlights for all the Disney nerds like myself could be all put on YouTube with an explanation. If you look here, there's that. If you look there, there's the other. Because they'd all just pass you by, don't they? It's too quick. You'd have to watch it again and again to get all the Disney nods, I think. And there wasn't a lot of the film set in Tomorrowland. There was a bit of a manky car park in Tomorrowland and a room with a portal. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Tomorrowland 2, if it was made, should be based in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen, Craig.
And there you go.
I've got more chance of Tron 3 happening, to be honest.
It's not.
But Fantasyland, the movie looks like it's going to be good, though.
I've heard that from other people saying that, it wasn't enough in Tomorrowland. And to me, that was another Disney thing, right? Because when Walt opened Disney, when Walt opened Disneyland, it was basically this thing of, here's this place that's for everybody, blah, blah, blah. But it's never going to be finished. Like, as long as imagination exists in the world, this is never going to be finished. And so the way I took that is that Tomorrowland, rather than being some future as tomorrow or something like that, is a, quote, finished version of the world, but you could never actually get there. Like, you'd have to go through a different dimension or something to actually get there to that different dimension in the world. And so for me, it didn't bother me so much that they weren't in Tomorrowland that often. I felt like at the twist, when they needed to be there for that part with the monitor and everything like that, I felt like they were there the right amount of time. So that's just me.
Do you think that possibly they've taken Walt Disney's ideals of here is a place that will never be finished and applied that to the script?
Oh, yeah. I mean, by far, Brad Bird was significantly influenced by Disney in the things that he had done, especially the Epcot project, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, that what was really supposed to happen in Florida. You know, Brad Bird was really, really impacted by that story. And that's really kind of where it grew out of, because he tells a story about finding a little box and having some stuff in there that talks about, the World's Fair and the Epcot and all these different things. And from that, he got this idea of this pen that could transport you to this place where everything had gone right. If everything was, doing really well. So yeah, I mean, Brad Bird was definitely really influenced by what Disney did.
Maybe we should have listened more to Sean Finney, who we had on a few weeks ago. Mr. Dolan.
Well, I do wonder, you guys were talking about Damon Lindelof and Lost. Like, I do wonder how much influence he had on the script versus if Brad would have just gone and done it by himself, how much, hey, we need to have a twist here, and we need to have this not be there. And because, that was people's main critique about Lost, that it really didn't make sense.
Everything that Damien has touched recently, and that includes Prometheus, people have had the same complaint. So I think that answers a lot of that kind of question, to be completely honest. I think a lot of it comes down to him. But Mr. Dolan, what did you make of Tomorrowland?
Yeah, a little bit similar to what Ken said. I thought it was all over the place. I did enjoy it, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing it again on DVD when it comes out. I thought there were some good ideas in there. I quite liked the message, although it was a little bit preachy and there was a little bit too much of George Clooney kind of explaining what was happening. But enjoyed the movie. Thought it just fell in between too many different stools. Was it an action movie? Was it a kids movie? Was it a family movie? It just didn't really tick any of the boxes completely. But it was good try. 7.5 out of 10. Shame that it wasn't a really big hit, because the idea of the movie did appeal to me, and the fact that that's probably killed any franchise is a bit of a shame, really.
And I think as well, what is a shame with these kind of things is that, and I hate to mention it again, but Jurassic World is part of a continued franchise, and with Tomorrowland, it was a completely new IP. Although arguably it was based, you could say it was based on Tomorrowland, or you could say it's based on Epcot. The fact is, it was an original idea, just taking, other parts of things to make it a real idea. And it's a shame that it's not worked. But one thing, and it's only because Ken mentioned it actually, that reminded me of it, is the fact that traveling between worlds, as it were. Now, just to point out to everyone that the last time that they tried to do that was probably John Carter.
Oh,
and again, we know how well that went.
Yeah,
you could argue Oz as well, I suppose, but I don't care that film made money; it was still crap.
Any of you guys seen Jurassic World yet?
Tron's a video game, by the way. Jurassic World. Yeah, I've seen that. Ken, has that been on your radar as well?
It's been on my radar. I just haven't been able to see it yet.
The only reason I mention it is because there's a hell of a lot, because obviously it's like a theme park and it's Jurassic World, and there are various scenes where it is Disney World in the Jurassic period. You know what I mean? The monorail, Main Street USA.
I would argue. See, personally, I wasn't gonna bring up Jurassic World too much about my feelings on it, because I was fishing to get an invite onto our friends, the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast, but they haven't bothered to get back to me. So
well, they might now.
Yeah, they probably would now they've got a free plug. But
I've never heard of them, to be honest.
Huh?
I've never heard of them.
Never heard of them. That's for other people. But I personally, I agree with what you say, Paul, but I think it reminded me more of SeaWorld than Disney World, except for the monorail.
I know what you mean. Certainly, I mean, I think you're right. I think there's bits of various theme parks, but I just thought it was interesting. You know, the monorail, and then there's like an overhead shot where you pan right up what looks like Main Street, and then there's a big building at the end which looks very much like. Well, it's not Cinderella's castle, but it's that place of, you know, the what do you call it? The sort of weenie that draws you in up Main Street. And then, you know, the cast members and all sorts of things. Actually, some of the cast members did remind me more of Universal than Disney. Ooh, contentious. Come at me for that one, Lee.
What made me laugh was I've heard the critique of a lot of people when it comes to the actual theme park elements of the film has been this really bad advertising. Like you see like a Starbucks in the background of a shot, and you see a Ben & Jerry's store as well, and you see various stores selling merchandise and stuff like that. And I thought, no, that's actually a very realistic depiction of a theme park. Why have you not been to a theme park recently? Because, you know, even Disney World now, we know Starbucks and things like that there. I actually thought it worked really well. I didn't think it was tacky product placement at all. I thought that there might have been some in there that was a bit tacky, but those parts of it certainly not. I've got to be honest. Obviously I saw Tomorrowland. I saw Mad Max Fury Road as well, which is another been a big film this summer. And I saw Jurassic World. And you saw that in 3D, did you?
Yeah, on Friday. It's the loudest movie that I've ever been to see.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was about a month ago that I saw it, and I still can't work out if it was one of the best films I've ever seen, or just one of the craziest films I've ever seen. It's just a mental film. I only saw it in 2D, but I can imagine it was good in 3D. But Jurassic World so far has been my favourite film, possibly of the year actually. And it's not because it's an excellent film, but it's a real summer popcorn film. I really felt they tried to channel like the Spielberg factor, what you used to get with a Spielberg film in it. I mean, that's not saying it was anywhere near Jurassic Park levels, because it wasn't, but it much better than the sequels, but it really felt just fun. And I especially thought the last 20 minutes or so, I just grinned. And I can't remember the last time I literally grinned watching a film.
Yeah.
Okay, so
really enjoyed it.
I've heard that popcorn film thing, you know, that popcorn film from a lot of people. Summer popcorn film, Jurassic World. What makes it different than Age of Ultron?
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's one film I haven't seen this year. Actually, is Age of Ultron. I decided to wait for that one, and that's another thing. Is, you know, maybe what's put people off of Tomorrowland is the fact that, especially as I've got older now and I've got kids, that I can't see all the films I want to see, and you know, I decided not to go and see the Avengers this year and to wait for it to come out on home release, because there were other films that I wanted to see at the cinema. Should I have gone to see that over Tomorrowland? Possibly. Now I've seen it. But
how was Age of Ultron done in the box office?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, really well.
Yeah. It you know, for a while it had the second best record. Now it's the third best, because Jurassic World did so unprecedentedly well that it's knocked even the Avengers, the first one, out of the top spot. So not the top spot, globally by all the means and everything like that, but just initial reportings, it's beating the Avengers and then Age of Ultron.
It was 207 million, wasn't it, opening weekend? And I think, or 208 million, and the Avengers was 205. Yeah. So, I mean...
I think part of the problem from that stems from the fact that if you're going to create some sort of computer and call it Ultron, you're asking for trouble. That's like having a daughter, calling her Chardonnay and expecting her not to be a porn star. If they just called it Dave, there would have never been a bad, evil, roboty computer thing.
And that...
Avengers, Age of Dave, doesn't sound the same, does it?
And this is exactly why we chose Alice for our daughter's name.
Exactly.
But we did choose Lincoln for our son, so who's to say?
Vampire Hunter.
Yeah. But I mean, what makes it different? I don't know. I think maybe... Again, so I haven't seen it, but if I compare it to like the Avengers, to be honest, I wouldn't have classed the first Avengers film as a popcorn film. I don't know what it is. I think it might have to have the right amount of cheese, the right amount possibly of...
It's more of a nacho movie then.
You can't have cheese on your popcorn. That's just messy.
No, I think...
You've been sidetracked.
I'm really... Yeah, now I'm struggling. I'll put in more alcohol. What does a popcorn film need? I think it needs to have that kind of sense of cheering. Like in the Avengers, I remember the bit that I wanted to kind of leap up and punch in the air. Shut up. Was that scene right near the end when you see the Avengers all standing there together, ready to take on the alien invasion, and you get that lovely sweeping panning shot, and it's the money shot. You get to see all of the Avengers there together, ready to fight. Shut up, Craig. Not that kind of money shot. And to be honest, like Jurassic World had a lot of those, and also I think because it referenced such an iconic film as well, I think that's possibly the reason why you can kind of refer it to as a popcorn film. I don't know. It's now you kind of try and question it. It's hard to say. Like when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's a real popcorn film. And now you've asked me to explain it. I'm struggling.
Just the right amount of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing as well. Like people are already going, oh well, this couldn't have happened. Look, it's a film about a park that's full of dinosaurs they've recreated from mosquito DNA.
Exactly.
Right. So already your element of suspense should be pretty shoddy. Yeah. You shouldn't be going into this expecting David Attenborough.
And to make it really, really seriously realistic, like a film, what they need is some sort of whole backlash public movement about a film called Greenfish. asking for the release of the mosasaur.
He was one of the nice guys. What can I say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the last time I enjoyed a film like that in the summer was probably Guardians last year, actually. But even Guardians, and I loved Guardians, and it made me laugh.
Have you watched it since, though?
Yeah.
You see, I've struggled to watch Guardians.
Really? Oh, mate. Because my wife didn't want to watch it.
My wife?
I had no interest in seeing it at the cinema. Even though I had Chris Pratt in it and he looked quite buff, I was surprised, but no. And after I saw it, I said to her, you know what, I actually think you'll enjoy it. I think she was getting a bit burnt out with the superhero films. She likes them, but I think, there's been a lot. There's been a lot over the last few years. But, I bought it when it came out in 3D, when we stuck it on the 3D telly and that. And she loved it. And we bought it one weekend and she wanted to watch it again the following weekend. And that is not something that she does. She will watch films again, but never like that. And I think since we first bought it, I've probably watched it about 3 or 4 times with her. And I think she may have seen it a couple of times with her mum. So, I think it still stands up. I really do. But even though I enjoyed that as much as I did, Jurassic World is the first time I've sat there grinning like a Cheshire cat in quite a while. And as I said, the last 20 minutes, I just wanted to keep jumping up in the air. It was so exciting. And the audience I saw it with opening night were boring as hell. Lindsay went and saw it the night after with her mum, and she said like there was a round of applause at the end. So, you know, it's not going to win any Academy Awards for acting. And, you know, even Chris Pratt is not as good in this as he was as Star-Lord. But it just felt like a really fun film. And, you know, much more so than Tomorrowland.
Are they going to marry the Avengers films together with Guardians?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all a part of the same universe, and that's the biggest problem I see for Marvel coming up next, because you have a couple of films being, you know, Captain America: Civil War 3, or Captain America 3: Civil War, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. All these films that are coming up over the next couple of years, and you already have people who are so burnt out from all the films we've already had, you know, and so we're entering what they're calling, you know, phase 3 of the, you know, Marvel universe, and it's just, it's to me, I'm really going to be interested to see if people actually continue to go to all these films, or if they're going to drop off more, because, you know, and Ant-Man might be a telling. Ant-Man comes out here in July, I think July 21st or 2nd or something like that. But Ant-Man's going to be telling, because Age of Ultron came out, you know, it never quite hit that level. It did very, very well, but it never quite hit that level of the first one. And my takeaway is that people are really getting that fatigue, you know, that superhero fatigue. I don't want to go see every single movie. And if you haven't seen a lot of the other movies, Age of Ultron starts to make less and less sense. So it you know, it's one of those things where you have a lot of more Marvel movies coming. You have a lot more Marvel movies coming, and we'll have to see if people actually continue to get really excited about them and go see them, because, you know, may or may not make sense.
It's true. A lot of the general public can't tell the difference between Marvel and DC, so to them a superhero is a superhero.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has been rebooted twice in the last 10 years. Superman has been rebooted twice in the last 10 years. It's, yeah, I can see people getting, good, another superhero. Woo, really.
And this is the thing, like, I enjoyed the first Thor, and I saw Thor 2, and it bored me. And to be honest, the next film after that was Captain America: Winter Soldier. And even though it had good reviews, I was like, you know what, I'm really not that bothered, I'll catch it later. And not to be
I had in, right, with all these superhero films, right, when Captain America is getting his head kicked in Winter Soldier, why doesn't he do a wolf whistle and phone up Iron Man or the Hulk?
What he needs is one of those seashells that they have in Anchorman. And he needs to shout at Avengers Assemble and go...
As opposed to one of those seashells they have in Demolition Man, which is not a superhero movie.
It's definitely not the same usage for that at all. I've never understood that. But that's it. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't going to see Guardians last year, and the only reason I did, and actually I believe as well, the only reason it did as well as it did was because of the word of mouth. Because the people that did go and see it said, you know what, this film's really good. It's much better than you expect it to be. Because the trailers looked interesting, but not enough for me to go, I need to see this film. And after I saw it, I was like, I understand the hype now, I get it. But even though the trailers for Ant-Man look quite interesting, there's two things that put me off. The first one is, I am just a bit burnt out. And I grew up loving comics, and I couldn't wait for decent superhero films to be made, and I loved the first X-Men film, and you know, I was like, wow, now I can really see decent superhero films coming out, not like 70s Spider-Man and stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of, I'm bored of superhero movies where they're superhuman and they've got special pseudo-magical powers. I'm a big fan of the superhero who was human, who was the Rocketeer, Darren, I'm looking forward to the reboot of Condor Man.
Yeah, that's coming just after Tron 3, actually, surprisingly enough. But that's the thing, and I think Ken, you're right. I think Ant-Man will be the turning point because, I mean, I was really interested in Ant-Man when it was going to be directed by Edgar Wright, as I love him as a director. So when he was replaced, I lost interest. And I was having this conversation with my friend the other day who'd seen the trailer, and he said, "Yeah, I was looking forward to Ant-Man, but Paul Rudd, I don't really buy it. I don't really buy it as him as a superhero." And I think that's the other thing as well. Although I think he will be good in the role, I can understand why people are like, really, this guy? So I think Ant-Man is going to be the one that kind of makes it or breaks it. And worryingly, guys, as well, I'm worried about Star Wars now. Because like today,
there's so much.
Well, I was talking
So
today,
much hype about Star Wars.
Well, it's not. You know what? It's not that. I actually do legitimately think Abrams is going to knock it out of the park, and that Episode 7 is going to be what we want it to be. I don't think he'll let us down too much. But you know, today Lindsay said to me, "Oh, because we were watching Star Wars Rebels, it was on telly," and she said, "Oh, how many more Star Wars films are coming out?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, about that." I said, because obviously we've got 7, 8, and 9. They're coming out. Then we've got, you know, the year after next, we've got Rogue One or whatever it's called, which is going to be about the X-Wing pilots. And then we've got the Boba Fett solo film and the Yoda solo film and the Han Solo solo film. And then I was like thinking, yeah, you know what? That's a lot of Star Wars. And I'm worried that what they're going to do is do the same thing that looks like they're doing in Marvel, which is just knocking out so many films. You're going to get bored.
Well, you also got the fear that I haven't heard anything about 8 and 9, only 7. And they're not doing a sort of Back to the Future, filming them all at the same time, as far as I'm aware.
No, they're not, no.
And yet, have they set so higher expectations on this that 7 will do astonishingly, stupidly well, but not hit budget?
No,
if they've set a target for it, and for some reason they're expecting that target to be stupidly high,
no,
you don't reckon?
It'll make huge amounts of money.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
guaranteed.
There's no doubting that whatsoever.
I honestly think that come December we will see an advert with a T-Rex staring at a Millennium Falcon going, "Well played," the same way that Marvel did that for Jurassic World this week when it beat their box office record. I honestly think that because I can't see how Star Wars can't, if I'm honest. But as well as that, although you haven't heard much about 8 so far, and we won't hear anything about, obviously, story or anything like that, but we have a director in place. The fact they've already got a director in place, and they've already started, you know, the script is already being worked on, and the production's already being worked on. Episode 8 will happen. 7, 8, and 9 will happen.
Yeah.
Even if 7 comes out and everyone hates it, 8 and 9 will happen. At the end of the day, look at Episode 1. Who watched Episode 1 and went, "Oh, I can't wait for Episode 2"?
Me.
The only reason you couldn't wait for Episode 2 was to get the nasty taste out of your mouth of Episode 1.
I loved Episode 1.
Just go back to Ant-Man. I gotta say, I mean, looking at the trailer, I think Ant-Man's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing Ant-Man.
The Thomas the Tank Engine bit's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, I think
that really creased me up the first 5 times I saw it.
So even though I didn't go and see the second Avengers film, and you know, I don't think I'm burned out with superhero movies. I think I'm burned out with a format where it's just like over the top action. You know, there's no real tension in it because you know at the end they're going to be okay, but they're just going to smash a huge amount of stuff up. So I'm kind of burned out with that. But what I like about Ant-Man is it does look like there's a bit of humour in there and a bit of a story and a bit of a character.
Every major city in America has been demolished.
I know.
Where a superhero lives. You don't get out.
Be careful. Make sure there's no superheroes living in Raleigh.
Property values drop when a superhero moves in.
Because they're usually followed by a supervillain of some nature.
Yeah, it's worse than an Aldi or a Lidl.
Look at Metropolis. What's left of Metropolis?
If you were a supervillain, wouldn't you actually find somewhere that a superhero hadn't moved to? I've just got to go there now.
Yeah.
But you know what? I haven't heard of a single superhero in Detroit. I think I'm going to go there now.
Super Eminem.
I don't know I'd go that far. I certainly wouldn't move to anywhere called Gotham, that's for sure.
But Ken, you did mention earlier, and we kind of deviated away from it, but I want to turn the conversation back there, especially because we're not going to see it for a while. But Inside Out.
Yeah.
How amazing is it?
So it's great. It's definitely one of Pixar's better films. I say that, and I feel like a snob because people are like, "Oh my gosh, this film is amazing. This film is wonderful. This film is fantastic." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is. That's what Pixar does. They make wonderful films. Like, with the exception of Cars 2, and even Cars 2 made a ton of money, but their films don't do bad. Every single one of their films has debuted at number 1. Except for Inside Out, which recently debuted at number 2. But again, it made $91 million in its first weekend, which is, first of all, insane for an animated movie, but also, the most that any original idea film has made. Like, no original idea film has made that in its opening weekend, and Inside Out just did that.
Wow.
And I think it's a film that kind of talks about growing up and talks about managing your emotions. And so it really pulls on the heartstrings. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are fathers. I'm not a father, so I took a little different message away from it. For me, it's like an 8 out of 5. For people I know who have kids, it's like a 9 out of 5. Or a 10 out of 10. Or, sorry, 9 out of 5. What? 9 out of 10.
It's really good.
I love your scoring system. I mean, I sometimes go up to 11. But
Must be amazing.
For our English listeners, this is not indicative of American schooling.
No, it actually might be. So, so for me, it's an 8 out of 10, and for other people I know, it's a 9 out of 10, or a 10 out of 10 if they have kids, because it's very similar to Finding Nemo in the way that it kind of tugs on the heartstrings of parents specifically. Like, the things that you see in your kids, as they grow up, watching your kids change, it just kind of makes you a little nostalgic, a little sad about, them actually losing something. But for me, for not having kids, I watch it as, oh yeah, that's stuff that happened in my past, and I don't have that stuff anymore, and I'm kind of nostalgic about it, but I don't really feel it, I think, as intensely as someone like my brother, who has a daughter who's 3, and right now has an imaginary friend and all these things, and they deal with like an imaginary friend in this movie. So, it's gonna make you cry. If you go in expecting not to cry, like, you're gonna be disappointed, because it's going to make you cry. That's what Pixar does well. And in the end, you're just going to walk out having a good time with a good movie. I mean, I walked out smiling.
I think, as Disney fans, we've all reached ages where we've got an imaginary friend. Ours is called Craig.
Mine's called the pub singer.
Yeah.
I miss that guy. Oh, there he is. Did anyone else hear him? Was it just me?
Propping up the pub.
Yeah.
I will say this.
He's a superhero, the pub singer. Marvel wants to get on that one.
I will say this. Inside Out comes with a short film called Lava. And for that, I really was not a fan. Like, I was not a fan of Lava.
Yeah.
Did you guys, I guess, have you guys seen Cinderella? Anyone seen Cinderella?
Yeah, I saw it. Okay,
so kind of like the short Dare, Frozen Fever, where they're singing every single thing.
Right.
Like, and I'm a Disney movie guy. I like songs in films, but this one, Frozen Fever, Lava, it's too much to me. My brother, on the other hand, he loved it, but
it's the sort of thing that gets you punched in the face at work for singing every line.
Especially if you're working at McDonald's. I didn't see Cinderella, but I did see Frozen Fever, because I've got a 2-year-old that's obsessed with Frozen, so we managed to find a version of it for her to watch, and I hated it.
I loved it.
I just thought it was a really poor cash-in. It was like a song that was just the greatest hits of the film Frozen.
Right.
Like all the comedy punchlines were from the first film. I just didn't feel like anything original, and I also wasn't a big fan of the song. Didn't hate it, but when I first heard it, I didn't immediately go, "Oh right, okay, I can see this is going to be a classic." Like we watched Frozen before the major hype had happened with all the songs, and "Let It Go" was heard everywhere. So when we saw it for the first time, I was like, "Yeah, I can." This is a big song. I can see it's doing really well, and a few of the other songs I thought were pretty good as well. But yeah, I wasn't really a fan of this one at all.
So Ken, have you got an all-time favourite Disney movie?
Great question.
Thank you. In the back of the net.
No, they're all like my children. I can't, no.
A Scotsman just put something in the back of a net. That never happens.
Doesn't Scottish football?
Does hockey?
That's true. Yeah, yeah. We stand corrected. We get beaten by it.
Yeah. So mine is Beauty and the Beast. Like
Beauty and the Beast. Good.
That film is to me almost perfect. I'm really nervous about them doing the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast now because I like Beauty and the Beast so much. But I mean, it's honestly, it's not just me. That film was the first film ever to be nominated, a first animated film to be ever nominated for a Best Picture, and that's what people are saying Inside Out will do again. It'll be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. But for Beauty and the Beast, the story arc and the way Belle is just so independent and the changes Beast has to make and the way Gaston just goes in the songs and the voice acting and the animation. I mean, almost everything about that film is just so perfect. The cliche answer, of course, is The Lion King, which, it's just Disney's crown jewel before Frozen. But, I'm a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast.
All right. So the next question then is, out of the films they haven't made a live-action version or aren't planning on it so far, what do you want to see as a live-action? Either from the animated versions or from a ride in a park somewhere.
Oh, great questions.
Wait, so what do I want to see as a ride?
As a live-action film.
Oh, as a live-action film. Oh.
Yeah, like Autopia the movie. There's one you could have.
With George Clooney just driving around very, very slowly.
Two cars and they're on a track.
You know what I'd love to see as a live action movie if I take a ride? It'd be the Jungle Cruise. Like, I don't know why. I really like the Jungle Cruise for some reason.
That is almost everyone's answer as well.
But I think it's because
we need to see it.
I think that's it. I think it's because the reason why it's such a good answer is because it's one of those rides where you think, actually, could you see it expanded into a 2-hour film? Absolutely. Yes. Boat goes on the wrong. Boat is doing a cruise, turns the wrong way at a cross path, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by all these crazy animals.
It would be like Curse of the Black Pearl. There'd be so many single nods to it in the first film. The half a crashed plane, the shrunken Ned.
Yeah.
Get a Jeep to turn over.
Oh, absolutely. Someone climbing up a tree with, I think he got the point, in a Bond-delivered style.
I've got to be honest, I still want the Magic Kingdom film to happen. I don't think it will do now, but I thought that was a really good concept.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, I don't know if you guys have heard of that series, Kingdom Keepers.
Ridley. I was going to say Ridley Scott. Ridley Pearson.
Yes, Ridley Pearson. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like that is actually going to potentially become a movie. I don't.
That could be Harry Potter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it already has an audience. People are already reading it and things like that. And plus, you have Universal having Harry Potter over there. Disney's probably far more focused on Star Wars and potentially opening a Star Wars land or Star Wars park or whatever. But I would love to see, a Kingdom Keepers movie.
Absolutely. Could you imagine that once they've done that, it's like, and we're now going to do a Kingdom Keepers overlay to the park. Yeah, there it goes. It's done.
In the whole world.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was essentially what the Magic Kingdom film was going to be. I mean, I heard about the concept of the Magic Kingdom film that Jon Favreau was supposed to do, just after he made the first Iron Man. So that was about 2008, 9, something like that. And then the Kingdom Keepers books came out, and it was almost identical. So I'm not sure which one was inspired by first, but obviously the concept was there. But yeah, I can't understand why they have not done this yet. It must be, like, they own the IPs already.
Jon Favreau's great, but I couldn't watch it after watching Swingers.
Oh, it's money. It's money, baby. What are you talking about? It's all money.
It just wouldn't be the same.
Besides, like, he's proven he can direct decent films, and he can also direct Iron Man 2, so he's not perfect, but,
Yeah, but if I had to choose an animated film, for some reason I'm on this, like, animal kick right now, and if I had to choose an animated film to be in live action, I'd either choose Oliver and Company or The Rescuers. Kind of a blend between The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under.
But as live action?
What about Toy Story as a live action movie?
That'd be freaky to me. That gives me nightmares.
Shocking.
Yeah.
But who are you going to have play Buzz Lightyear?
Tim Allen.
George Clooney. Oh, he did that in Gravity, didn't he?
Sandra Bullock.
I think we've already proven this show that George Clooney is not the answer to our problems. When Jesus, I believe he was going to be cast in Tron 3 just before they cancelled it. So there you go.
Nespresso, the movie. That's his next one.
Ocean's 14.
Yeah, so that's it. Get Jean Dujardin to appear in some more films. He's good.
So next superheroes we need to see that are not of the same universe. When's the Banana Man movie coming out?
Why are you joking about that?
I know, I'm not. I know.
That's actually happening.
I know it's happening.
Banana Man.
Banana Man, yes.
He won't be crossing over into the Marvel Universe, unfortunately. But
wait, a Banana Man? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, we have. We'll put it this way, Ken.
A British animated cartoon series.
Yeah,
about
YouTube.
Eric.
YouTube is going to be your friend tonight. You're going to discover Banana Man, and you're going to love it.
A small boy who gets superpowers every time he eats a banana. As opposed to Popeye's spinach, it's bananas.
Hey, and if you like that, Ken, there's another one you can check out, another British production, Super Gran.
Super Gran?
Yeah, she's like a gran, but she's super. And look, the thing is, I know you're thinking, oh, you crazy English people, because we are, but this is stuff that we were made to watch, and we accepted as being completely fine and completely acceptable to watch. It was only as we got older and our brains developed that we realised the absolute dross.
Because we didn't know any better.
Exactly.
I'm still waiting for Rent-A-Ghost the movie.
Classic.
Well, you know that was almost going to happen. That was another film that was almost going to happen. Russell Brand.
That's Timothy Claypole.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
But don't worry, it's not happening because he's gone nuts, isn't he? So it's all right. So, are we going to do some alphabet soup?
Well, no, I think we'll have to save B for next show because we're an hour in now.
B for bye.
We're not going to do B? I have B ready.
Oh, no.
Well, in that case, I think it's only fair. Let's have our guest, even if we don't do our Bs, we can do our Bs next show. Okay. But let's do our guest B.
I can't do it either. I'm about fairness. No one can do it. I don't get to do it either. I'm good with that.
There's nothing fair we do on this show.
We're making it up as you go. Dear listener, yes, that's kind of it. Oh no, I've killed it with an axe.
Oh, so we got on an axe murderer.
The axe man cometh.
We've got a couple of shout outs, I think.
Far away.
Oh no, we've got one.
Oh, just the one then.
Our resident book reviewer, Jen Pease. I'll try and do it in the sexy Jen Pease voice.
Impossible.
This should be interesting.
I'm driving through Chicago on the way home. Give me a shout out, and I'd like to say hi and happy Father's Day. Boopoobedoo. How was that?
Well,
Scary.
the boot.
Thank you. Just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Until the Boopoobedoo, I was repulsed, but you kind of swung it back in right at the last minute. So
You had me at Boopoobedoo. Okay.
there's your show title. I'm gutted, Ken. I'm sorry you run out of time.
What are you doing next Sunday?
Part 2.
Too much talk about movies. We should really have a guest on and just actually do our show.
Nah, why bother?
No, that's not what people tune in for.
Our show's generally boring. That's why you have guests. And of course, if you've got suggestions for guests, you can of course contact us on our website, which is www.DisAfterDark.com, or you can email us at podcast@DisAfterDark.com.
Or on Twitter, as we mentioned earlier, at DisAfterDark, Facebook.com/DisAfterDark, and MiceChat.com.
And I'll just put my beer down because I haven't quite finished it. And everything else, whatever. You'll find us here because you're listening to us. I've lost track completely.
Etc.
Another way, Poet to put his beer down to say, "Yeah, I've got no idea."
I've got no idea what I'm talking about anymore. I'm probably getting the shush noise.
What's this? Name this tune.
James Mouse.
Greatest. She's fantastic. There is danger here.
Classic.
Big in America as well, Danger Mouse, you know.
And there is a film on the horizon for Danger Mouse as well.
Yep.
Wow.
But on that note, thank you very much, Ken, for joining us.
Thanks, Ken.
Glad to
Oh,
be
Ken,
here.
do you want to just do a quick plug before you go?
Yeah.
How very polite of you.
Say what now?
A plug.
Plug away.
Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. No, sure. After you're done listening to Diz After Dark, please swing by the DisneyMovieReview.com or on Twitter at DSNY Movie Review, or on Facebook, Disney Movie Review, or on Google Plus, Disney Movie Review, and talk about Disney movies with me.
And is it true you Periscope all the films you go and see? Well, I'm not supposed to mention that on air.
That's under wraps right now.
And that knock on the door was.
No, Ken, thank you very much for joining us.
And
Yeah, that's a good one.
Craig, remember to put those in the show notes because I'm slack.
I will. I'll do everything yet.
Yeah. Oh, so just a normal week for Craig then.
You do everything, and I'll just stop the recording.
We turn up and yak for an hour, and Craig makes it all worthwhile for everyone else.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Craig.
Brilliant. Well, in that case, I hit this button.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Dis After Dark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
I need a wee. That was 2 litres of beer. In and out.
I think we should replace this with Banana Man's theme tune next week.
I'm going to have to find it, aren't I?
Or Supergrand's. Actually, Supergrand's theme tune was much better than the TV show.
If anyone can find it for me and send me a link, that'd be great.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
And we're clear.